and today we'll be reading a new book. Last time in Game Lodge, we talked about board games, but now we're going to talk about video games. Now let's do Steam Jobs in Game Development by Kenneth Ronsberg. Now down the way, let's get into it. What happened? Steam Jobs in Game Development. What is Steam? A game designer helps a development team create the story and rules for a new video game. A game programmer writes computer code to create a virtual environment. An audio engineer records and mixes sound effects and dialogue to make the game more realistic. What do all these people have in common? It's not just video games. All the jobs require STEAM education. What does STEAM stand for? Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Some of the most exciting careers are in STEAM fields. A strong STEAM education allows you to research, test, and build new things. The problem-solving skills learned through STEAM take you to the next level in just about any career field. Game design. Video games have images and sounds just like movies, but video games are different because they're also interactive. They require input from players who use a controller to tell the game what to do next. Video games are entertaining because they challenge players and give them fun ability to master, like jumping and shooting, and the goals that test whatever the player had mastered them. Many video games also tell a story that adds to the main goals, like jumping to rescue a princess or shooting the defender from alien invaders. Game design is a process of creating those challenges and stories. Game designers require mechanics, systems, abilities, rules, goals, and feedback that define how the player interacts with the game. After speaking of fun mechanics, the designer writes a story that fits the challenges of the game in the order in which the player will complete them. Because video games are both stories and challenges, a game designer can begin to work with an idea for either the mechanics or the story. Steam Spotlight. Pong was designed by Nolan Bushnell and released in 1972. It was not the first video game ever made, but it was one of the first arcade games. It was simple, based on the rule of tennis. And the instructions printed on the arcade cabinet were just simple. 1. Deposit quarter. 2. Ball will serve automatically. And 3. Avoid missing ball for high score. As most people had never played a video game before, it's important to design a game that was easy to explain. Think of your favorite video game. Can you describe the goal of that game in fewer words than instructions for Pong? Well-designed games usually have rules and goals that the player can see and understand. A designer must understand other job and development process to be able to explain the ideas and to work within a specific budget to finish the game on time. Designers also work with game testers, helping understand what the game is supposed to play like when it's finished. Game designers must work well in teams and at least have some skill in all STEAM subjects, particularly art, technology, and mathematics. Game designers help the development team look at the big picture of the game is supposed to be. Real Steam job. Ubisoft game designer. Ubisoft is one of the world's leading video game development companies. The company's game designers have worked on many popular games, including the Rayman, Prince of Persia, and the Just Dance series. A team of Ubisoft game designers creates a story and challenge for a game. Ubisoft kind of sounds like something for the Airsoft team. Ubisoft has many popular series, so designers might already have some ideas. For example, it would be difficult to make a Just Dance game without dancing or music. Whether the idea is original or not, the game design team must then explain their ideas to the rest of the development team. Ubisoft representatives demonstrate Just Dance 4 at a video game expo. Art and animation. This book goes 50. Artists create the visual elements of video games. Artists draw concept art, images, characters, and environments. As a rough draft, help the rest of the development team understand what the game should look like. Then they use advanced computer software to make 3D models of characters and environments that are used to make the game. Afterward, they draw the images that get placed on top of the 3D models. These images, called textures, add detail to the virtual world. The finished products are called art assets. Virtual characters are built from wireframe models and then covered in textures that add color and detail. Artists create the buildings and characters, animators add lighting and shadow effects, and make the people in water move realistically. Animators take the art assets and make them move as if they were actually alive. They make characters walk, jump, and climb in ways that look realistic. They are also responsible for animating the environment. For instance, they make sure that the blades of grass was sway in the wind. Flower, 2009. Only 8 minutes. What? Both jobs require similar skills, including a strong background in art. Artists and animators are required to have technology skills to draw images on computers and make 3D models of characters and environments. They also need to have at least some knowledge in life sciences, especially anatomy, to draw and animate living beings. Oh, wait. Theme fast fact. Even simple character models like those of Minecraft require artists and animators to know science of how living beings move. Yeah, even though you have 5 joints. Audio engineering. You ever reached the flagpole at the end of a level in Super Mario Bros. Game, then you'll probably appreciate the importance of sound effects. Players use sound as a type of feedback, a way for the game developers to tell a player there's an enemy off screen that you should know about, or in the case of a flagpole, hooray for finishing the level. Sound is also important for making a game realistic. Just like movies, people really notice when something does not sound correct. A video game, or even worse, when it does not make any sound at all. Consider displaying blades of grass in the previous section and imagine you cannot hear them rust on the wind. Would the virtual environment feel like a real world? Likely, you would probably feel something was wrong. Sound effects give this player a sense of speed and alert him to other racers closing in from behind. You can obviously see that as well. Audio engineers edit every noise you hear when you play a video game. They make sound effects, record dialogue, and sometimes work with music composers to add a soundtrack. Audio engineers need to have skills in engineering, technology, and math. Programming. Programmers are the code of a game development team. They write computer code and programming languages like C++, and run and control everything in a video game. Programmers code things that we take for granted in the real world. Like the laws of physics, some programmers specialize in coding one specific part of the game, such as artificial intelligence or the behavior of computer controlled characters. Hmm. Action game. Oh. Many games require the same basic code. The programmers often create and use advanced software programs called game engines. Most video game developers use game engines because it's more efficient to use a game engine than to write the basic code for every single project. Epic Games is a development studio. In addition to making their own games, creates and licenses a game engine for other studios to use. The Unreal Engine is one of the most popular choices for video game developers. The action game Xenoclash 2 was created using Unreal Engine 3. Programmers need to be independent workers, but also work well as a part of a team. You try to create what the game designers want, and you also need to talk with testers to make sure the video game is coming along well. Often, programmers have to deal with crunch. The team development teams use to describe with times when a lot of work needs to be completed before an important deadline. Programmers usually have a degree in math, computer science, or physics. You must know at least one programming language before getting the job. And will usually learn more during their careers. Most employers want to see some samples of code or a game demo. So it's important for students to use the college project as an opportunity to build a portfolio of work. I'm coding the tactical shooter Nuclear Dawn. The programs include multiple resources like maps and menus. Also, unlike most other games, players can look at the same environment from both first and third person perspectives. The type of environment being depicted in the game, such as a snow-covered factory, can pose different challenges to programmers. If programmers this multiplayer game, you need to know how to write code to support input from more than one player. Level editing. Level editors are hired to build the virtual space in which video game is played. Some types of video games, like the puzzle game Tetris, take place on one screen and do not have characters or story. However, most modern video games take place in a large 3D environment where players control an avatar. A model of a character represents the player in the game. Levels can be designed to look like real places, like the cities of Venice in Assassin's Creed 2. Or they can be designed more like a board game, like the Amazing Pac-Man. Either way, a level editor must design spaces that are interesting to look at and challenging to navigate. Usually, the layout of a level depends on the mechanics of the game. For example, in a multiplayer game like Splatoon, levels are designed to be like sport arenas, with many different spots that only be reached by mastering the ability of turning into a squid and swimming through ink. In other games, like the first-person puzzle game Portal, the level layout is actually part of the mechanics. In Portal, players use a portal gun to shoot two openings of a single portal across the room, designed to test players' knowledge of gravity, momentum, and other basic concepts in physics. There are several ways that players interested in level editing can develop the skill. Many video games that give players tools to make their own levels, such as Minecraft, Little Big Planet, Little Big Planet, and Super Mario Maker. Also, fans of some knowledge of programming create mods or modifications to existing games. Practicing with mods and in-game level editors is a good way to get started, because the programming, art, animation, sound, and mechanics are already in place. Level editors should have good spatial reading skills and should know how to use 3D modeling programs in order to create complex virtual spaces. They must understand game design theory to work with designers, making sure the levels fit in the game's mechanics. You must also know enough programming to work with programmers and artists. Someone who wants to become a level editor can earn a degree in engineering, software development, or design. QA testing. It's like question and answer testing. On those quality assurance. Modern video games typically take years to make. They require development teams of dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of people who sometimes work remotely from across the globe. They feature massive open worlds and complex stories filled with characters that need to act and interact with the player. It is no wonder that video games, like old software, have potential to malfunction. Like in Minecraft, which if you do the malfunction, they walk and run at literally speeds they cannot do yourself. Like run, walk, run, walk. Quality assurance. QA is the process of testing a video game to make sure it works. No matter what the player does to the game, once a video game is developed to the point of being playable. QA testers are hired to play the game for many hours each day. Ooh, that'll be pretty good job. And that's for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And see you again very, very soon. Later.